It's a true story about a real family navigating life. You know, it's very grounded, it's very slice of life, but also, you know, it goes through real struggle. It's not just all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine. Because life is not rainbows and butterflies and sunshine all the time. You know, I play Scott LeRette, the father and husband in the LeRette family, who wrote the book, The Unbreakable Boy, that the script and movie is based on. And he wrote a very raw, brave, vulnerable story about how he was not the best husband and not the best father, and how he found loving himself and loving his family through this boundless optimism and love of his son, Austin, with autism. And so, you know, that's really kind of at the heart of the story. It's radically accepting the life that you've been given, radically surrendering to that, radically, you know, loving the family and the life that you've been given. And I think that you're navigating the waters of having a child with autism, which is something that at this point, it touches all of our lives, every one of us. Either we have autism, our kids do, our friends' kids, our kids' friends. I mean, it's that, you know, and I think we've been given a really great gift that we get to represent that in such a beautiful and authentic way. It all came together very fast, this film. So I was able to have some phone conversation with him prior to shooting. Then he and the family all visited us in Oklahoma City where we shot it. So we got some good quality personal time with them then. You know, what you're trying to do, because, you know, you take artistic liberties in order to translate a true story first into the book, then into the movie. You know, obviously Scott and I look very different. We're, you know, almost doppelgangers, really. So there's going to be all those differences, right? But you're trying to just, what's the energy? What am I trying? How do I authentically tell and honor this story? And the fact that they're so happy with it, that's your first hurdle, you know. Like, audiences beyond them, that's where we're getting to now. But they were so happy with the finished product, and I was like, all right, great. We did that job, and we did it well. Movies like this really do bring people together, because particularly if you can go to a movie theater. Like, movie theaters are this incredible opportunity for complete strangers who believe very different things to sit down in the dark and watch a singular piece that makes them laugh and cry in the same moments. And what it tells us in all of that is, oh, we're not all that different. We're actually far more the same. We are human beings in the human journey. And may we never forget that. So I hope a movie like this does that. I hope people leave this theater. I hope they first go to the theaters and they see the movie, and I hope it resonates with them so deeply that they do laugh and they do cry, and they're moved and they're touched, and they evolve a bit in their character, and they go, oh, okay, and yeah, and like that person there and that person there, they're not me. They live very different lives, but they clearly felt the same thing I felt. So may we never forget that.
It's about this wonderful family who have an autistic son who also has bone disease, and the struggles that his parents are having and the way they sort of act out and manage their stress in unhealthy ways. And I play Zach Levi's mom. And, you know, you never stop becoming a mom even though your kids are grown. And I have 4 sons who are in their early 20s to early 30s. And so you're always there for them. So I really relate to being a person in this role in life of being a parent to adult children. And I just think that, you know, more and more people have kids that have learning differences, whether they're on the spectrum or just have some issues. And so I think it's great that people are more talking about it more openly, and that schools and society in general is becoming more accommodating to people with differences. I think that's really important. When you're bringing a story to the screen, a true story, and you have an obligation to those people whose story it is to represent it in an honest way and to respect their story, their family, that this is actually their life. So you want to do it justice, and they're a wonderful family, and to see them share the excitement of having their story put out there in such a positive way is really gratifying. It was like old home week. I mean, when I was all these pals of mine that I'd worked with before, and also this is probably my third movie in Oklahoma. So, and I had really come to fall in love with Oklahoma. So it was like, yeah, where do I go? Just get me there. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a movie that really deals with a family struggle, but that at the same time is uplifting and has hope. And we haven't seen any of these for a while. And I think it's a time because, you know, things are tumultuous right now. And so it's nice for people to have a respite, to be able to go to a movie theater, have a communal experience about something that's uplifting. I think it's a perfect time for this movie.
I mean, my function was more finding the property and shepherding it to Kingdom Story and Lionsgate. Once they were, behind it and they understood the movie we're trying to make, and we put together a great team with Jon Gunn and the cast that we put together. The rest of it was out of my hands, and I just got to have fun acting in it and come to the premiere. But the book kind of fell into my hands as my brother-in-law's fault, because he owns a pharmacy here in New York, and Scott LeRette walked into his pharmacy, Pasture Pharmacy on 34th Street, shout out. And Scott LeRette, who the book is about, who wrote the book, went in and was buying some shaving stuff, and he was telling my brother-in-law about his book, and my brother-in-law said, well, my brother-in-law Peter's in the business, he should make it into a movie. And so I got a phone call from Leon, and he said, hey, I met this guy, it's an interesting story, you should make it into a movie, which is, you hear all the time. But I read the book, and I thought it was really interesting, and it became a journey with Scott LeRette to get it up on the screen, and I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see it as an audience member. I said, this is a beautiful story. As an audience, I want to be able to see it, and so I was able to make it. Now I get to sit back and watch it as an audience member tonight. Preacher Rick, originally my main function was producing, and Zach was starring in it with Meghann, Fahy, who's wonderful, and Powell, and then there was a role of Preacher Rick. And I thought, this is a fun role. Who's playing this? Can I jump in? Looks like a fun piece. I can't let them have all the fun, right? So Preacher Rick comes to Zach's character at a time when he's at his all-time low. And I think his purpose is to show him that everybody is fallible, and everybody is going through a hard time. And you don't have to be alone, when you're going through it. There's other people that can support you and be there for you. So it was a fun character to play. Just fun. I remember I became like, they would be at work and I would make them turkey in my hotel room. And they all come after work, we'd all eat turkey in my hotel room. And I had days off, I'd be like, come over, I made turkey, because it was around Thanksgiving. So I was like, I was making turkey in these little ovens. What are those ovens? They're like toaster ovens, right? I forget the name of them. They're fryers, air fryers, yeah. So I would get this air fryer. There's no kitchen in there, so I just get an air fryer and make turkey for everybody. So it became like a big family. It was nice. I'm Italian. I gotta feed people. I mean, there's so many takeaways from this film, but I feel like it's good timing. For me, this is a movie about being present, being in the moment, spreading the message of love. It's a movie that after you watch it, you're gonna want to hug whoever you brought, and just and I want that for the audience. Because I think we need it. I think we need that right now. Everybody needs a hug right now.
Unbreakable Boy follows the family of, family that has Gavin and Jacob, who in the movie has autism, and it's just their adventures and their their trials and tribulations, going through that experience. And I think it's truly beautiful because me personally, I have a brother who has autism, and it's a beautiful story, and I'm very excited to share this with the world and share this story because it's like there's not many voices that are put out there, to represent these families and these stories. So I'm very excited. So essentially, it's this family that has a child with brittle-bone disease and autism, and how they navigate life. Tyler is Austin's bully. But it's really cool because Austin is so innocent and so pure that he just sees beyond all of my pain, and he's able to see that I'm really just hurting inside more than anyone else around him, and that's why I pick on him the way I do, and we become best friends, and that's truly what happened with Austin and his Tyler, and it's just an honor to be able to play this role because it showed me a lot about myself, a lot about how people may view Ryder, my brother as well, and some of Austin's stories. So yeah, it's really cool. Jacob is such an amazing actor, and he studied Austin and every single bit of it, and he portrays him so beautifully in his own way. And Gavin, I mean, we created a little bit of a brotherhood, honestly, working together, and ever since we've been best of friends, and I love this guy, and of course, Zachary, Levi, and Patricia Heaton and Peter Facinelli. Beautiful, beautiful actors. I mean, I grew up with Zachary Levi as Flynn Rider and Shazam. So there's nothing cooler. Understanding. It's truly like you never know anything about anybody else. Everybody has so much more going on than people realize, and it's like if people could take away one thing, it's just have that understanding for people, and give people a break because you never know what they're going through.
How does it feel? It's wonderful. It's taken the better part of 15 years, and so it's pretty crazy. Faith, love, and humor. That's in the end, that's what it ended up being about. But it started out as just therapy for myself, writing to myself. So it started out as a TV show, and then I started writing little notes to myself, and it turned into bigger notebooks, and then it turned into, I need to get an agent, and the book, it just all click. And then I was with an independent film company, and that was a really bad experience, and I met my partner, which is Peter Facinelli, who's Dr. Cullen from all the Twilight films, and he became a dear friend, and prior to us becoming partners. And once we became partners, everything just took off. It's an amazing cast. I mean, Zach Levi, spitting image. They couldn't have done any better, right? He's 6'5", 225, and perfect teeth and hair. So I think the casting director, she deserves an Oscar. Jill Anthony. The last few weeks, it's gotten pretty wild, pretty surreal, pretty crazy. And because I envisioned everything happening. I did. 15 years ago. I'm that way. There's no way I fail. And the stronger my faith became, the more and Peter taught me a lot too about just letting things go and not stressing over things. Well, there's so many different facets to it because a lot of folks see the picture and see the cover and think it's this story about an autistic kid. And you have to realize it's a memoir. I wrote it, and it's my life story. So it's not an autism story. That's part of it. But there's addiction, there's marriage, there's parenting and suicide. And there are just so many different things. And I hope that when people leave, they can pick something out of the film that translates to their own life experience. And because we've heard it so many times in the screenings where someone walks out and they're like, oh my gosh, that was me.
Believe it or not, yes, I do believe that. Because my dad's a good guy. Anyone can write a book and they know what to do with their mind and brains. Anyone can write a book if they set their mind to it. it doesn't have to be a book. It could be like you want to, like how I went to chef school, and I want to be a voice actor. I love to be a voice actor. I want to play Shaggy. That's how I'm growing this. So like anyone can write a book like my dad and do anything and set their dreams and make them come true. That they go home and have and realize that family is more than anything. It's hope, it's passion. Being grateful is one of the greatest joys of showing people that they love everyone and that they need to show like it's always okay to ask for help and help others because being yourself is amazing. Like Tyler's my best friend, my best brother. And there's two people besides my mom, my dad, and my brother Logan. Tyler and Allison are two people that mean everything to me in the whole entire world.
It's funny because my mom was like, well, they're giving spoilers whenever they talk about you. And I'm like, it's okay, Mom. It's okay. It's important that they know. So I play Joe, and I play Scott, LeRette, Zach's character's imaginary friend. And you learn that pretty early in the movie, so it's okay. But what I love is that Joe was a real imaginary friend, if that makes any sense. Like, Scott had this imaginary friend that he would talk things out with named Joe. And I love that idea. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't do that, growing up and in my adult life. And so it's a fun role to play because he's there for the happy times. He's there in the sad times. He's the angel on the shoulder, the devil sometimes. And we just had so much fun. And this is genuinely one of my most favorite roles I've played. I had so much fun with this guy. So yeah, it's a joy from top to bottom. Unlike other movies any of us had ever done, we really became a tight unit. And so we still have a text chain that's been going for 5 years now, or 4 years, however long it's been. And, we will never forget the making of this movie. And so that's why all these years later, to be here and to see the real Austin and to see all our buddies and to see Jon and to have my son here with me, like, this is next level. This is the stuff I get emotional thinking about it because this is different than a lot of this stuff. Look, I love our Avengers. I love doing all the different stuff I've gotten to do. I love playing Grundy. This is different. This is like highlighting a real family, a normal family, and highlighting parenting and parenting special needs kids and putting a spotlight on them for a change. And so could not be more proud to be a part of this. Peter would make turkey. He bought an oven. Did he tell you about this? So he's making turkey. He called me up and said, Drew, you want some turkey? I'm like, ha. He's like, no, I just made a turkey because it was Thanksgiving. So then we had turkey. And then, I don't know, man. I look back on those times. Peter also had this like crazy gas mask that he traveled on the plane in because, people were still scared. And so there's just so many stories. I looked through the photos the other day with Jon Gunn, the director, and I was like, oh my gosh, do you remember this? There's a scene in the movie, I think it's still in there, at Halloween, where my character is dressed in Halloween as a character who's also imaginary. I'm gonna leave it at that. You gotta go watch it to find out. But that was another favorite. I wish I still had that jacket. Look, he's my buddy now. We met on this show. I've done now 2 movies with him so far. I think he is one of the most talented writer-directors in the business. And I'm saying that as a friend, but also as an actor that's been around for a while. What the heart and the realism that he brings to these characters, it is incredible. He has such a gift, and he did this in such a short space of time. Normally, as you know, movies, you write it, and then there's all this period of time, and then you shoot it, and then it comes out. This he wrote, and we were shooting within months. And so that's also remarkable. But he's just got the gift. Everything he sends me to read, I'm just like, again, you've done it again. So I want to have my wagon hitched to his star for the rest of his career. So he needs to continue to do things that allow for a 6'3", devastatingly handsome man. We can shine a light on this family and what it means to be there in the good times and the bad times. Parents will see this movie and go like, oh yes. That moment where you're like, oh, I can't, not anymore. And then you do. And the moment of that pure bliss when your kids just are happy, and that's the stuff. I get emotional thinking about it. I tear up every time I see this movie. I tear up when I think about this movie. Leo's like, Dad, stop being such a sap. But I can't help it because this is why I wanted to do this job. This is why I wanted to be an actor for movies like this. And I know that seems like I'm overselling it. I know, but I promise when people see this, you've seen it. When they see it, they're like, oh yeah, I get it.
So Logan is the younger brother, and I kind of protect my older brother from bullies and stuff. I talked to Austin a lot, and he kind of told me a little bit about how his brother acts. So, he's awesome, by the way. I love talking to him. He's super funny, and he's super light. He's a super light, happy person. For sure. It was great. I loved everyone. We all had a great time. We all got together to hang out and stuff, and we all just had a great time. Yeah. And even I hung out with Pilot a lot, in between scenes. Yeah, so it was great. I think people need to realize how lucky they are to be where they are, and a lot of people have great opportunities in life and everything, and I think everyone should be thankful for everything they have.
The Unbreakable Boy is about this family, the LeRette family, and Scott and Teresa have this kid after only 3 dates, and the kid is Austin. And hello, this is Jon Gunn, the director.
I'm going to interrupt your interview to say I haven't seen you yet. I got you home. Good to see you, pal.
Good to see you too. Jon Gunn was really good to work with. After Austin is born, they learn that Austin, who's me, has brittle-bone disease and autism, which leads to them going through lots of different struggles. He gets sent to a mental institution at one point. He gets crushed by a swing, and he breaks all of the bones, basically, in his body. But throughout it all, his family, they are able to learn how to move through it all, even with the different struggles, and it isn't easy. It really was great. They were all amazing in their own ways. Meghann was really loving. She really was the mom on the set, who we all saw. Me and Gavin got along really well. We were brothers. Tyler, Pilot, he may seem like a bully, but trust me, he wasn't. He was. We only had him for 3 days, but we wish we had him for more. And then Zachary, Levi, of course, he was incredible. He was always really compassionate and helpful to us. Since he was like the most experienced one, he really played his role as like the father there.
It's a true story of Scott LeRette, who he and his wife, before they were actually married, they surprised themselves by getting pregnant with a baby that turned out to be the joy of their life and the challenge of their life, and the most incredible kid named Austin. So it's really a story about gratitude. It's about a family who sort of heal each other and support each other and complete each other. It's charming and it's honest and it's magical, and I'm super proud to share it. This movie actually came to me, it's a book based on a true story, and it came to me during COVID when we were all in isolation. And so I was feeling really grateful for the things that I had with my family locked up in our home. It just felt really like the right moment in time when we made it, and it's taken 4 years to come out, and now I feel like it's the right time to share it. I tend to do a lot of writing on things that I direct, but in this case, because it was based on a book and a real family, and Austin has the most incredible voice, just his personality and his spirit. And so it was an interesting challenge because I decided I was going to write the story as narrated by the autistic child. So I had to sort of write a lot of voiceover and narration from the point of view of this 13-year-old autistic boy. But I had so much to reference because the book was written so beautifully and because I got to know the family. So I would call them all the time and speak to Austin, and I would just get to like the sound of his voice, the phrases he uses, like his essence and his personality sort of permeated this story. So it's been such a joy, and everybody who watches the film gets the chance to meet this amazing spirit that is Austin. So I'm super proud to have been able to write it and direct it. It was a real gift for me. That's always the number one priority for me as a director, is like finding the right actors, and you want to find the people that feel like they can humanize these characters and breathe life into them. So we were already making a film with Zach Levi, American Underdog, which I was a writer and producer on that movie. So we sent him the script, and he read it on a Friday and called us on Saturday and was like, yeah, I'm in. And so starting with Zach, we sort of had a movie, and then finding the family for him was, Meghann Fahy plays his wife, and she's incredible. Amy Acker, Drew Powell, Pilot Bunch. But then to find the Unbreakable Boy was the big challenge, right? How do you find a kid with the essence of Austin? Austin is a kid with brittle-bone disease, autism. He's 1 in a billion. And he's got this incredible spirit. And so we auditioned, of course, hundreds and hundreds of kids. And the moment I saw this audition, Jacob Laval just, he's so special, and he just made me smile the moment I saw him. And so we were so grateful to have found him. I never could have made this movie without the Unbreakable Boy. So it was, and they came together as a family, and we lived together in quarantine, and we are still family to this day, 5 years after we made the movie now. so excited to share this. You know, it's been a long time waiting.